Welcome to the Bugzilla Project meeting. And did I just cut out a video? I think my Wi-Fi just, stupid. Am I still here? Go ahead, can you hear me? Okay, so don't have much of an agenda for this meeting because of the fact that Just Dave is not here, and usually that's kind of the going forward as I discuss things with Just Dave. So we'll do things a little bit different. We're going to try to see about cutting harmonies. Really, this is just going to probably be failure at the moment because shouldn't be part of the harmony stuff of being part of upstream Bugzilla 6.0 without breaking the rest of the code. So some things that have developed inside BMO are dependent on each other. A good example of this is there are some schema changes that are quite involved involving the groups tables and the product table that are part of the BMO extension, and the BMO extension is definitely on the list of things that we will not include in the Harmony branch. So that's where we're at with that.
Dylan?
Yes.
Do you mean we won't include the extension? We won't ship the extension, or we'll ship it disabled?
Currently, I'm shipping it disabled because I don't want the code difference between BMO and Harmony to be that great. But eventually, I would like them to eventually stand on their own and just be very compatible with each other, and only have minor differences where those differences are features that are turned off. Getting there without everything with relatively limited amounts of time is somewhat difficult. But I'm going to open up a new IDE window, and I also have some code type announcements. We alluded to this in the previous meeting. The direction for what this Bugzilla run on in the future has changed from being we will support PSGI in addition to mod Perl to we support Modulicious, and Modulicious supports mod Perl and PSGI and everything, but like our base layer is the Modulicious layer now, that has made a lot of things drastically simpler, including our dependency situation, which is the other point that I could potentially talk on. As it is now, we have a significant number of C dependencies, and there's additional C dependency that we need to add for security reasons, which I cannot go into. But if we do that, that will be bad for certain classes of users. So I would like to have, there's not very varied opinions here, there's just a manual, but I think that we should embrace using C dependencies, and for the most difficult class of user to handle when we have C dependencies are Windows users. However, Windows is almost a single platform. Like we could make a release of Bugzilla that just works for all Windows users. And if that's the only objection, is that if we have a lot of these C dependencies that are required, and they require a compiler that can handle source Windows binary. is that still a problem? So, but anyway, any thoughts on that? Like, the specific C dependencies that we're using that are most useful, that are the most difficult to not have replacements for, are the Markdown library. So the Markdown library that we're using is the C one that GitHub uses because we want complete compatibility with GitHub Markdown. And the other one that I'm aware of, well, actually, backing up from this, there are some dependencies that we already have. Whichever database you're using is in a C dependency. So either MySQL, Postgres, or SQLite, or Oracle, I guess. But anyway, it's just a matter of whether we have more C dependencies. The optional ones that we have, they're pretty easy to do without, are things like there's an HTML escape, which is a faster HTML escaping library. When I say faster, I mean like ridiculously faster. The serial library, actually the serial library is another example. Serial is a used for serializing stuff in Memcache, or will be used to serialize stuff in Memcache, and it's written in C, and I would really rather not. And I think that I will say this, that we're going to have C dependencies unless someone makes a really good argument against it.
I don't really care one way or another. I just would like them to be open source licensed.
Yep.
So that I can submit them to Fedora and Red Hat.
Definitely.
So that those distributions can ship a package of the Bugzilla.
I'm saying, hey, there's two different configuration things. For development, I like people to be able to install all of the dependencies using the cpan toolchain. I think it's gotten a lot easier since we I thought about this earlier. For people that use Bugzilla, I would rather them in increasing layers of complexity to use package managers. Like at the base layer, I would like you to have a package in Fedora and then Ubuntu of Bugzilla. And even on top of that, there are now, there's Docker registries. So I would like to just have a packaged Dockerized version of Bugzilla and so on. I think that's the way to go, is the project providing more, I hate the phrasing and it seems antiquated, but turnkey solutions rather than the current build it yourself, because the build it yourself results in an awful lot of people having trouble, and we have been historically good at helping them, but it's not a very good product experience. So yeah. All right, what I'm doing now is I am browsing over to the Harmony repo, and I'll share my screen once I've done that successfully so no one gets to see me flail around. And then I think I could ask Kohei some questions about what directions we want to go in. Most of this is already known, but like if there's any big things that we want to announce or things we want to say and be recorded, we can do that. Where is... So a fun fact that no one might be aware of, I use the Git work tree feature for working on BMO and Bugzilla and stuff. And I have something, I think I'm up there for having about 120 work trees off of the same repository, which means my recently opened file list is hard to manage. There it is, Harmony. All right. Open up terminal. And this will be fun because I'm also going to do a pull and a merge. So this might be Kohei. While I'm doing this, do you have anything that you would like to talk about? Directions? I know you, like in the last update to BMO, there's something like 17 changes, and a majority of them are yours. So you could tell us about those, for instance.
Yeah, I sent a bunch of PRs, and Yeah, what should I do next? Yeah, still think yeah, some people watched roadmap here. Bugzilla. I just sent a link to the roadmap for 06. Maybe some people have never seen this one.
Ah, the roadmap, yes.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of things, and yeah, the site-wide redesign is a big one, and also some small things also. Yeah, and also nickname. We just talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about that, but we could talk about that here, and that would be something for people.
Yeah,
so
I actually I sent some to-do. I just made some to-do list here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big one actually, because everything works with an email, and yeah, all the features have to be converted to support user nicknames.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I think it's we could just talk about this in this meeting, and I'll save the Harmony stuff. Live demo in Harmony stuff most of that, but I think if we talked about the nickname stuff, I can read over that list and then give you my input, and then we call the meeting or wrap after that. I think that would actually be a useful use of this, and then people will see it.
Yep.
And that is such a big important thing that it would be nice to have a video so that someone could watch it. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so canceling the probably disastrous live demo, but I'm still going to do. I'm just going to try to cut a Harmony release like this weekend. Another one. I've been doing this and they never work. Like, I hate seeing that. They work, but they're very fiddly, and I want them to not be fiddly. But let's talk about nicknames. Okay, I'll give some background about how we got to where we are, very briefly. For a long time, people put colon followed by a IRC nick in their username. Out of the, I don't know, several 100,000 users that we have, about 3,000 of them do this. That 3,000 roughly corresponds with Firefox developers and community members that are kind of heavily involved. So you'll typically see this, like my name will be Dylan Hardison : Dylan, all lowercase. And then the reason for that is people would type in the auto completion box, they would type colon followed by, for instance, Dylan, and then that would search through the names and return it. What that was doing was a full substring match over every user account. And as I mentioned, there are several 100,000 usernames. So over time, I'm sure originally this was quite fast, but over time, it's become incredibly slow because there's no way of indexing that in MySQL. It just goes through it. So I got really annoyed with this a long time ago, and I tried this grandiose plan of implementing Elasticsearch. And Elasticsearch was going to make everything faster, searching bugs and also searching a couple of weeks ago slow, so I decided to fix it. I've done this, and this is the current state. If you have a colon followed by a word, and the word here is very general, I actually looked at the entire set of usernames and made a regex that matches all of the ones that are existing. Anyway, so we have a new field called nickname that's populated by whatever your colon name is in your real name field, and that is now indexed using a prefix match. So if you type, for instance, :DYL, you will find me and a couple of other Dylans, I think, maybe just me, really fast. This improved, I tweeted about it, but like it's a large speed improvement. I've actually gotten people that noticed it without me telling them. It's really good. we're also doing full text search on names. This ends up being a very confusing, the way this is implemented is confusing, and I'm gonna have to fix it. But basically, if you start typing something that might be a name, and we think might be a name means begins with an uppercase letter or contains non-ASCII characters, then it will do a full text search. This doesn't work real well for Asian names because you can't search for things that are 2 characters or less, and 2 characters could be, for instance, 2 2 Han characters, which is a very common name length, and so you can type in a 2-character Chinese name and find nothing. So that doesn't work out real well either, and I don't know what to do with that exactly. But usernames are the way to go, but what we have in the database is the primary key, not the primary key. The key that we use to identify people is their email address. And so then we have roughly 3 identifiers, or 2 identifiers and something that's almost an identifier. So we have the nickname, and the nickname is constrained as of tomorrow to be unique, and a first come, first serve basis. We have the real name, which includes the nickname currently, but that's kind of the implementation detail that no one needs to pay attention to. And the login name is your email address. So what Kohei has written here is a plan, a to-do list item. Extract the nicknames from all existing real usernames. So that's sort of done. They're stored in the DB as a separate field. We need to expose those to the API and make them searchable. They are searchable now, but they're not exposed in the API. We just have this sort of shadow field that is always set to the user's nickname. So what Kohei has then laid out here is reorganize preferences to accommodate the new nickname field. We're thinking of taking the profile page, that's the existing account page, taking the profile page that exists already in addition to the account page, and put this so you can change your, I think roughly the plan is to put so you can change your name on the profile page, but on the account page you'll have your password and stuff. Does that cover that, Kohei? I feel that I'm actually missing something in this and how the profiles page will work. No. Oh, well, one other thing, additional. So the real thing that needs to happen here is the nickname field. Before we expose it, what we should probably do is we should probably add another field. Bear with me. We should add a field that's called email, and email should be set to whatever someone's login name is currently. Then we should go through all of the users and set their login name to the nickname field. Now, I'm in this plan, the nickname field is eventually going to not exist. Like the nickname field exists right now, but we don't expose it in the API. We just use it for searching. So what we do is login becomes copied to an email field, and then the login field gets set to whatever was in the nickname field. And if you don't have a nickname, then we generate a random, unique-ish one based on your email address. So for instance, if Dylan is already registered and your email address happens to be dylan@pants.gov, then you become Dylan2 or something like that. And that's probably reasonable. The thing we have to consider here from the Bugzilla project standpoint is we need to make sure that this upgrade path can be followed by people that are upgrading from older Bugzillas. Which if we're clever enough, we can do pretty easily. Note, and I will note here that the way that this was implemented in Bugzilla Master with usernames, the implementation is really not good, and we won't be doing it that way. But that means that there's going to be sites out there that already have a username field that we'll need to migrate from too. So once again, doing software doing the Bugzilla software itself for all of our varied sites is difficult. And I think we could do this in a single step. So the nickname field that I've already made doesn't have to be a step that another site takes on the way to here. We can just shortcut that, parse out the real names and parse out the nickname from the real name, set the nickname to be the login name, or guess a login name if there's not one, and move the login name to be a dedicated email field. Kohei, does that make sense? And also, have you considered the upgrade path difficulty for other sites? Do you think we need to think any more on that? Can't hear you.
Yeah, I put actually a couple of things also. And can you read the page? The last one is update all the features to accept nicknames. Not only the UI, but the other features. structured nicknames like needle info, CC, or whatever. Yeah. And also that for new users, they should be able to choose their own nickname on the sign up.
Oh, I just had an idea.
Yeah.
Oh, Just Dave's here. Hi, Just Dave.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
I'll be able to interact. I am working a help desk at the moment, so if I get any customers, I'll have to disappear quick.
Oh, okay. We're talking about nicknames and the Harmony branch and how we're handling in BMO. But Kohei, so here's what I just had. I had a pretty good idea just now.
Actually, I should put this document in a Google Doc or somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, the wiki's editable too. Like, I think we allow, don't we allow anyone to edit the wiki?
Right.
So the wiki, we're talking about that. This is on the Bugzilla GitHub project under Bugzilla-UX.
Yeah. I have a link in
and there's a link in the channel. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe I should make a tiny URL and say it just so if anyone's watching this, they can, or maybe can we edit, just Dave, you know this, can we add a description to the Airmo video after this goes up with like a link to what we talked about?
Totally make it happen.
We can totally make it happen? Awesome. Let's do
I don't
that.
know.
We'll
You can probably find somebody who can.
Yep. Yeah, we'll make that happen. So anyone that ends up watching this, there will be links that you can click on. Kohei, I think we need to cook on this a little bit. One of the things that I was thinking is, in the previous way of thinking about this, is that the login name doesn't have to change. It just has to no longer necessarily be an email address. So we copy all of the existing ones, and then at that point, we can offer people the option to start using a nickname there. And for all new users, when they sign up, they choose a nickname or username, whatever you want to call it. And they also have an email address, but the email address is never shown or displayed or shared or anything like that. I think that's possible. And all of the code, so like even all of the code that currently shows like review flags. So when you show a review flag, it shows the R ? And then currently it shows the nickname. That would just default to showing the login name, which would currently be for like me and everyone else an email address, but then could be changed to be a username. And I don't think this would require any API changes because I don't think, let me be very careful, unless you are taking something, a username, a login name from the API and then attempting to send the email to it, to you as an application, it's just a string that's guaranteed to be unique. So as long as Bugzilla no longer expects it to be a valid email address, then that should be fine. What do you think about that? Because I think that's very easy to. I think that's an easy place to get to.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a good one. Yep.
I could just, and the schema update ends up being much easier when the difference between old and new sites becomes different, and the existing Bugzilla 5.11 master branch, which no one should have been using, but there are countless people using, we have an upgrade path for them too. So I think that's what I need to do. But that's not a blocker for 6.0 release, right? That's like 7.0 territory, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to 5, I guess.
What?
Said if we're going to keep supporting 5. Because if your intention is to not support 5, then we need everybody to be able to migrate cleanly to whatever's following it.
Oh, we're definitely, no, clean migration all the way back to 4.4 is what I'm committed to. So I have a test case for that already in the Harmony branch that gets run by Circle CI and I think was passing recently. All right, I want to cut this, I want to not have much longer in the meeting, but here's what I want to get out of this meeting before the next one, because then after the next one, we're going to have our 20th anniversary on the 26th. And it's been real long. We've had people that are really patient, been patiently waiting for a Harmony branch that they can use. So without adding any new features to what's on BMO as of today's release, I'm going to try to get it so that you can check out, I mean, the very specific goal. You can do a checkout of the Harmony repo. You can run it using Modulicious. That's the one I'm going to support, which means you run bugzilla.pl in the directory and it starts up a server. That will work on CentOS 7 and Ubuntu current long-term support, which I think is this year. Those two are the only things I'm going to commit to doing, but I'm going to commit to making it so that you can start the server and most of the things work. This may have the caveat that features that you would prefer to be disabled are still enabled. I will not be disabling Bugzilla BMO features that I can't disable, so this will be might be slightly what someone doesn't want, but it will at least run as good as BMO itself runs right now, and I can commit to doing that, and I'm going to try to do that. I'm making this promise in a video that's recorded and probably watched by a few people, but more importantly, I'm making this promise to Kohei and Emmanuel, and Just Dave, who are here with me. So those are the people I'm making the promise to, as a promise to the people here. So if you have a CentOS machine, a CentOS 7 VM base, or current version of long-term support Ubuntu, you can check out the Harmony code and run a Bugzilla that will work, and that is what I will do. So, and that's all I have for this meeting.
I missed a little bit of that because I had somebody show up, but
I'm making promises they're going to make it so I have to like stay up late a couple of weekends working on some code.
Okay. So we have something cool to show off on the 20th anniversary, right?
Yep. Stuff is like the single best thing. There's all sorts of exciting stuff. By the way, as of right now, if you go to bugzilla.alizom.org, that site, well, unless the update got pushed out, but at least for most of today, that's been running the Modulicious code. There's a few minor issues that I'll need to fix, but it was working. And I'm not going to promise it's faster. We have every reason to believe it won't be any faster, but it shouldn't be drastically slower. And you don't have to use Apache, and you can do in the future fun stuff like WebSockets and server-sent events and all their really fun things. Also call out the Modulicious community in the #Mojo channel on irc.perl.org has been really, really helpful with this. So if you know the previous experience that Bugzilla has received from the Perl community, it's one of indifference usually. We're doing something and they go, oh, Bugzilla, and they haven't particularly felt kind towards the way that we've done things. But the support that I'm receiving about making Bugzilla run on Modulicious from the Modulicious community has been really good, so thanks to that. It's better support than I've expected.
A lot of people saw the old 2.0 version of Bugzilla, and it's like the worst Perl ever, so.
They ran away screaming, yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
That's not what.
And that stuff, like we had custom database handlers at one point, and we really didn't do things the way the Perl community wanted them to be done.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like 2.16 or something before we were using DBI.
Yeah, something like that.
I did not know that, and if I had come upon the project at that point in time, I would have probably run away. Also, because of this meeting and the fact that it's somewhat official and recorded, I would very publicly and formally thank Kohei for all of the UX work that he's been doing. It's amazing. I never thought that we would have these features. The feature that is most commented upon lately, that if you're watching this because you're a Bugzilla user but you don't use BMO, when a bug has updates, like someone updates a bug and you haven't been to it in a while, and you go back to it, it shows you at the top that there's been changes since you were there. And if you click on that, it drags you down to where the changes are, and it shows a red line above where the changes have happened. And so the number of people that have commented that, and not even just to us, like I just seen people talk about this on Twitter and then on Mozilla's IRC network and stuff. They're like, oh my God, since when does Bugzilla tell me what's happened since I last looked at a bug? So, and that is just one of the like dozen things that Kohei has done. So
Just check that only works if you're logged in. It's not using a cookie or something, right?
no, it's only if you're logged in. Like you have to be logged in. And remember, as part of the Mozilla typical stance towards things, we don't like tracking things. We don't do tracking, but we do for your benefit of a dashboard page. We do know the last time you visited a bug, and so that's the information that it's using. And I believe in typical fashion, you can turn that feature off. Like you could on your account say that you don't want your last visit update information to be saved. If I'm wrong about that, that's sorry, but I think that's the case because I remember implementing that feature. Anyway, that's all of the news. I feel I wish that I have some more time before this August 26th thing, because I really wanted to get the Harmony stuff farther along. But at the very least, I want the BMO code that is pretty nice and usable now to be in the hands of other Bugzilla sites if they want it. And so I'm not, notice on the 26th, I am not guaranteeing a clean upgrade path, but the eventual goal is a clean upgrade path from 4.4, from 5.0, from 5.1 to 6.0. And we'll call the 6.0 release on the 26th a release candidate just to set the expectations right.
Got 25 days, 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, that's enough time. That's enough time. How many weekends is the real unit of measure here? Is how many weekends?
Yeah, yeah, 3 weekends. Maybe
3
2 because
weekends is a lot.
26 is on a weekend, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, whatever. I'm gonna try. If I don't promise.
So technically, you have that last weekend of the 26th because the 26th is the Sunday of that weekend.
Excellent. This will be great. I love making promises for things, but I think that I can do this. I wouldn't be making it if I thought it was impossible. And I would have probably resigned in disgrace at this point if I didn't think that this was possible. So
we're very glad that you haven't.
Yeah, I find it fun. Like there's been some really interesting problems to solve, especially around performance stuff, and I really want to make this a system that really shines. So it's fun. It's still fun for now. I'm sorry that I'm slow, but it's been fun. Do we have any other business to attend? Oh, just Dave, I have one question for you, which maybe you can answer. When is Bugbot coming back? Bugbot is currently missing in action.
Oh, as soon as somebody told me that it was gone, so I can go kick it.
Oh, okay, good.
So it'll be back in a couple minutes then.
Okay, good. Firebot, its friendly neighborhood sibling bot, has been taking over for it in some of the Mozilla channels, but yeah. All right, that's all I have to say.
Nobody told me it was gone.
Darren, our video person, we are free to terminate the meeting on IRC and on Twitter and things like that. So
probably pinged Freenode and I haven't been on Freenode all week, so.
Criticism. So bye-bye.